The protests have focused attention on things like the economy, which there have been threats to destroy the economy. If the economy is destroyed, then what are the young people going to do?
If Hong Kong people or Hong Kong works together with China, China works with Hong Kong, it can be win-win. At the moment, it's lose-lose.
I've been in Hong Kong since 1991. I came for a few months and I stayed. As for memorable events, the handover, that was definitely very memorable and very wet. It rained terribly. Well, the first emotion when it really started raining was panic. And then watching Britannia sail out of the harbour was strangely an emotional moment.
This is一個被載入史冊嘅永恆時刻。7月1日0時0分，中國政府正式對香港恢復行使主權。
At that time, everybody thought, well, what you're going to do after the handover was the question, and everybody thought it would collapse. It didn't. I think China actually looked after it very well.
From the peaceful, rational, non-violent to valiant protests, street demonstrations flourished in every corner of Hong Kong, tightening the many already entangled knots. How will the two folks who have known Hong Kong for years see the root cause of these problems?
In 1991, Hong Kong was the gateway to the mainland, the gateway to China. The generation at that time, not just the young generation, but perhaps the slightly older, middle-aged, slightly less, they understood China. They really did, and Hong Kong was the gateway. They also understood foreigners. As time has gone by, this is just my impression, but as time has gone by, it seems that the younger generation are out of touch with China, and China is out of touch with the young generation.
If you think about it, the young generation, if they were born in 1997, they would now be 22 years old. And most of them have never been to China. I don't think the young people understand anything about China at all. If you look at any young Hong Kong person, they walk around like this, looking at their iPhone, their mobile phone, and they're being bombarded non-stop. What I would call false news or distorted news. And it's very easy to manipulate people's minds, particularly young people's minds.
We have to educate the younger people.
So they're reading this stuff non-stop and it feeds on itself. So in a very real sense, they've been brainwashed without realizing it. They need people who will understand them and can talk the same language. There were some people among the so-called pan-democrats who I had tremendous respect for, people like Martin Lee, and at that time I voted, as it were, for the pan-democratic camp, however you call it. But then I see these politicians becoming more and more radical. People think that you can develop democracy overnight. I mean, this is just so naive. It took England about 700 years to develop a democratic system, and it's still not perfect. Even in England now, we don't elect our Prime Minister by one vote. We elect a government who then chooses the Prime Minister. In America, actually, the word democracy does not appear anywhere in the American Constitution or the American Declaration of Independence. America was set up as a republic, not as a democracy. If Hong Kong people or Hong Kong works together with China, China works with Hong Kong, it can be win-win. At the moment, it's lose-lose because the people protesting don't realize how important China is and they're actually destroying their own future. So although at the moment I see a lot of chaos in Hong Kong, which I think is very sad, I remain optimistic.
We've been through a financial crisis, bounced back. We've been through SARS, 2003. we bounced back. This one's a bit harder, the protest now. Hopefully we'll bounce back, but I think we're going to be a very different city.